Oh, I don't hear anybody. Happy Sabbath. Okay, for today's Healthline presentation, um, I'm going to be giving it. My name is Prince Otchere. I lead Healthline and also the health ministry. So this is actually a very interesting article that was published in JAC, or the Journal of American College of Cardiology, just 2 weeks ago. It's called Determinants of Progression and Regression of Subclinical Atherosclerosis Over 6 Years. Now, we're not going to make it very technical. We want to get to just a few points about this, okay? So what was this about? So this was a research that was done to understand atherosclerosis disease, how it begins, and we know that it begins early in life. Or plaque, and I will show you a video. Plaque formation begins very in life. And interestingly, this paper was even telling us that even at 16 years old, plaque formation starts. But the purpose of this paper was to understand how progression in plaque formation happens, and they wanted to know that regression in plaque formation occurs as well. So that is the reason why this study was done. And just so, because I know some people will know what plaque is, but not everybody knows what a plaque is. So if you can see, on my here, this is a vessel, and it doesn't matter whether it's the heart vessel, is the neck vessels, is the vessels in the legs. This is the process is still the same. Here you can see a vessel of probably like a baby or a 5-year-old, like an innocent, healthy little boy. And you can see here, there's already fatty streaks forming, and then it becomes small, and then it forms what we call atheroma. There's a lot of biochemistry behind it. But then the layer forms over it and becomes what we call a plaque. And then what we don't want, but often happens, is when there is a rupture of the plaque, and can cause, if it's in the heart, it causes a heart attack. If it's in the neck veins or in the brain, it causes a stroke. If it's in the legs, it causes other issues as well. So basically, this is what a plaque is. So what they did was that they took 3,471 people between 40 and 55 years old, and basically they did an ultrasound of their neck and the veins here, because it was easy to image. And they did this beginning, they did it 3 years, and then in 6 years as well. And then they did this study was done in Spain over this 6-year period. What did we find? 17% of people within this age group, which is really a young age group, 17% of them had new plaque. 15% of them, they basically had progression of their plaques. But interestingly, 8% of them had what we call plaque regression. Basically, even though they had plaque, when they went and imaged it, the plaque was not there anymore. So we have scientific proven evidence that you can actually regress plaque progression. And this is an illustration in the paper. So if you see where it says atherosclerosis progression, you can see a vessel there, and below you can see plaques forming. But interestingly, there are people who had plaques, but then when they did ultrasound, there was no plaque after 6 years. Well, why? What did they find about these people? They realized that people who had plaque regression, they had higher LDL levels, their blood pressure was high, they were mostly smokers, older, and male. It's some of the characteristics that they derived from the study. The people that had regression mostly had low LDL levels. They were non-smokers. They had decrease in fibrinogen. Do you know what fibrinogen is? Anybody can just say, raise your hand and just tell me. What is fibrinogen? Anybody want to tell me what fibrinogen is? It's basically a marker of inflammation. It does other things, but basically a marker of inflammation. And so why they chose this is people who have chronic inflammation also can have plaque. And if you have less inflammation, your risk of having plaque can decrease. And guess what? Plaque formation, smoking can cause inflammation, but what else can cause inflammation? Stress can cause inflammation. Chronic stress can do that as well. Many other things, but it's not just what you are eating. Of course, it's already evidence that red meat can cause inflammation as well. But what is very interesting is that they realize that younger people, the younger part from 40 to 45-year-old, they had the most progressive, they progressed very quickly when they had these two factors, when their blood pressure was unchecked and their LDL cholesterol was unchecked. They had the fastest progression of atherosclerosis. LDL cholesterol, where is the only place LDL cholesterol can be found? This is a class. Where is the only place LDL cholesterol can be found? It has to be an animal product. So this is the only LDL cholesterol can only be found in animal products. So basically, the conclusion, and this is just people who want more details, this is actually ultrasound from people that were done. And if you can see here, this is a real person. The yellow shows the plaque, and 6 years later, there was no plaque. And basically, these were people that had plaque regression, real people who had plaque regression. So the conclusion is that prevention of atherosclerosis or plaque and its progression could be enhanced by risk factor control at younger ages with long-term impact on reducing the risk of clinical events. So have we not known this for a long time? No, for real, have we not known this for a long time? Even though science is now, it's really coming to help us to understand a lot of these things, we've known this for over 100 years old. Things that decrease inflammation. Social connection actually causes less inflammation. I don't know if we realize that. Social connection, people who believe in God, actually studies have shown that they have lower stress, which lowers inflammation levels. Meat product is the only thing that has LDL cholesterol. And so without that and without blood pressure elevation, you really, even if you have plaque, you can still lower it. And so this is good findings that I think should be help us all to examine how we live, how we eat, and how we actually teach others as well. Thank you so much. And on that, I want to say that next week we have a presentation from Alexa, our own Alexa, and it's going to talk about missions. So she's done missions, and she's going to tell us about why do we even do medical missions, her experience, and how you can be involved. At 2 p.m. today, health ministry is meeting because we are planning for our really exciting program in March, where we are going to take the health message to the community. We've known this for a long time. How are other people benefiting from that? Sometimes sharing the information is how it even impacts us even more. We actually have to examine how we are living better when we actually start telling our people. Thank you so much. Please pray for this event, and I know that God will use this to bless us and the community as well. Amen.